Hey Royals, happy Men's Mental Health Month. Hope you enjoy this TED Talks with me and get something from it. Please like, share, and subscribe as you enter, and the link will be below for the full version.
It was cool to
Stay
share
tuned.
my struggles, but I didn't get any help. Why? Because it was irrelevant, right? The practitioners who did not look like me were culturally incompetent. They meant well. I didn't have time to teach them about my lived experiences. I needed tools and strategies. I needed them like yesterday. What does that mean for all of us? The current mental health industry does not sustain black male trauma, black male rage, black male resentment, which means we have to look at the factors that are uniquely attributed to black males in this country. What makes me qualified to talk about black male mental health struggle? Well, beyond the obvious of being a black male, I crashed in 2008, the year the mortgage industry crashed, the real estate market, right? That same year, my mother informed me she had stage 4 cancer. In 2009, I became a father for the 4th time. But this time was unique because the child was already 21 years old, which means right before my 17th birthday, I had a child. In 2010, my mother ended up passing away from cancer. I moved her from Chicago to Georgia before the diagnosis to live out her golden years under the sun of the South, to work with me and for me. She ended up passing. In 2011, I went to what I now label as a very eventful divorce. I lost everything. I walked away from everything. I lost my family, my spouse at the time away from the children, assets, things of that nature. In 2012, I experienced my very first panic attack. Found myself in the middle of a public park here in Atlanta, lying on my back, crying profusely for what seems like hours. In 2013, I had my second panic attack. This one was different. This one, I was with the partner at the time, and she said that she overheard me saying some things that were troubling. Later on that day, I had a special event I needed to be at. My friend at the time took me to the local emergency room because as black males, that is how we address our mental health struggles, right? When it really gets to a point, you have to see someone at the local hospital in the emergency room. So, of course, they kept me 72 hours, suicide watch. I missed the court date. My partner at the time took the signed medical excuse to court at the time that I was supposed to report. The judge refused it, subsequently generating a bench warrant, and I eventually had to address that. That same year, 2013, my father passed, just when we were attempting to repair a 40-plus year fragmented, fragile, broken relationship. He passed. Went to Chicago, did the mourning, came back to Atlanta. 2 days after mourning my dad's death, I was pulled over by local law enforcement. I had to settle that warrant from a few months earlier. So for the next 57 days, I sat in a jail cell, in a jumpsuit, grieving what I thought initially was only my father's death. What I now know was all of the stressors, the losses, the trauma, the rage, the resentment I had since I crashed the same year the mortgage and real estate market crashed.
That was a lot. There are people, well, first, let's say this. The reason why the emphasis on mental health for me is so important is because there is a huge difference between being disappointed by situations and being depressed. And then you'll find in the rest of this video there is a difference between um, clinically depressed and the kind of depression that most black people are, especially black men. It's not clinical depression. However, you just heard the laundry list of things that this man went through in such a short amount of time. And whether they were charged by decisions that he made, we don't know that on the back end, but what we do know by listening to what he said, that he didn't play a role in any of those things. The marriage separate, right? But losing your family is very, very hard. Trying to have a family, a healthy black family, man or woman, more so men in how they think, is that the weight of the world is on their shoulders, but the wrong of the world is what they're most likely to experience. That is a dark place. That is a hard place. And more so than, I'm going to always for me, keep talking about the parental space, the village space, because that's the space that raises up the young men to then go become husbands. That wife who possibly piggybacks off of some of the things the mother did, because a boy and a girl are in the same household. You're being raised the same way, but you take different things from it, right? And it depends on what type of household that you come from. His household included family therapy. But there's a certain part of a person that if something is missing, there will be a gap in that space, right? There's also things that when you become an adult, they're just too hard. I can understand out of all of that, for the life of me, why that judge issued a warrant. But that's another testament to the experiences that black men will either experience or have this pressure, nervousness, anxiety, discomfort, fear on a daily basis that I can do everything right. I could be in the situation that should allow for this to be excused, such as the hospital, and it's still going to count against me. It's okay. That's it. The other thing for me is that there's also a difference in being afraid that those things will happen, right? And then experiencing those things happening. That man had a laundry list of things that he had been through that led up to panic attacks and things of that nature. If you are not truly experiencing those things, no different than when we say on the woman's side with that R word, do not accuse somebody of doing that. That greatly takes away from somebody who is an actual victim, because that's a sensitive space where women are not believed X, Y, and Z, right? So women, you can relate when I'm saying this. It's the same thing in this space. Men, I need you to understand. If you have not experienced these things, live in your truth. Live in the things that are truly happening to you, and those things that you actually have an opportunity to have some involvement in changing and making better. Standing on, well, this could happen, or this might happen, or this happened when I was younger. What happened when you are younger, we didn't choose our life. But when we get older, we do have more say-so. We do. And there's things that we can do internally to make our lives better. There's efforts that we can put into ourselves. And that will take some of the pressure off. That will allow for some type of peace. That will allow for us to control our thoughts and give, I'm just going to say it, praise where praise is due. If you have not had to experience those things, stop having blanket statements and basically fighting against yourself. Stop self-sabotaging, because there are people that are truly experiencing things that they need help with. If you are not one of them, why isn't it okay for you to say that? Why do you want to live in that space so that you don't have to live up to what you should be grateful for and the positions that you can be in? You never once heard this man say stop. You didn't. I personally have found that most people that complain about, Well, you don't know what, I could possibly go through. You're right, I don't. And you don't have that for me either. Your walk is your walk and mine is mine. But when I say, okay, well, like what? Well, the black man could do. I didn't ask about the black man. I asked about you. Tell me what you went through. And even if it includes a laundry list of bad decisions that you have made, we have the opportunity to change our life every day. The sad thing is, the painful thing is, it took one wrong action to make that mistake. And baby Jesus, sometimes it feels like it takes eons to repair it. So guess what? If we could teach the next generation, don't make these mistakes and don't sit in this space, because we do have more resources than our ancestors, then how much better are we doing, right? Okay, let's listen to the rest.
So after going through 4 different therapists, I gave up on therapy. I knew I was in trouble. It was evidence in my life. I found this gentleman, walked in his office. I knew the drill, right? Sat down, poured out my heart, and at the end of my spiel, the gentleman looked me in my eye and asked me this question that forever changed my life. He said, "You ever thought about becoming a therapist?" I said, "Man, what? Are you kidding me? I'm here for therapy. I'm not here for career coaching." He said, "No, hear me out." He said, "Look, I am about to retire. I've been doing this 35 years. I've seen black men come and go. I can't help them. I don't think the entire mental health industry can help them, but I think you can." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you're not clinically depressed. You're emotionally exhausted. You're sad. You're angry. You're devastated, right? You're going through trauma. You're grieving, but it's not clinical depression. It's the unique experience of being a black male in this country, right? I'm not asking you to give up on therapy. Just find someone who looks like you. Better yet, become the person you're looking for. You are your own solution."
I love that. Baby, when I tell you, see, June ain't over. And I think I'm going to talk about being black for the rest of my life, because I had no idea there were certain gaps. However, because you only know what's around you, right? And you don't want to believe that these things are still happening. But the reality is, my favorite part of what he just said, become that person. Whatever space it is that you can give back, whatever you can make your profession, never take being black off the top of your list, because it's off the top of everybody else's. And what I mean by that is making sure that we're okay. How can we ensure that we create safe spaces, not even inside of the home? Inside the home is when we're younger. Outside of the home is when we get older. If we continue to emerge in those spaces that need us the most, how can we not make it better? How can we not? If you can explain that to me, I'll stop saying this. You have to make it better, because you become a part of the solution. And here's the other part. Why do you think I work with children? I work with children because as a child, I wish that I would have got treated like a child more, and not by my parents. Your village matters too. I wish that I would have got to sit in being a child a little bit longer. So I love working with kids because I love seeing the glow on their face. I love when they get something that they worked for. They go to school, they have good grades, and at the end, they get something that says, I did this. I love that space. So that's where I give back. That's what I do. Also, in the corporate realm, I did HR for as long as I could, because that was the space that I saw people coming in, but not everyone was coming in. You have to think about, God said, go help somebody else, and that will help you. Because that feel-good feeling, those people that post themselves giving money to somebody, there's a certain percentage of those people that post it because they want other people to do it. They're trying to be the change they want other people to see, right? There are people that become teachers because most of them want to give back. But guess what? It's a certain part that only want to pay their student loans. The passion that you put in something, it shows up. It does. And in so many spaces, we are doing better as a people. But as of where we are now, I'm gonna have to say I don't think we're doing so well, because in the spaces that we could sit, the things that we can do, people have become lax. People have forgotten, because we can have a house now, we can have a car now, we have good credit now, we have these things. I have these things, not I as in me, but the I is being so fulfilled right now that the we is being lost. You're not even thinking about, if I do this thing to make a lot of money, how is it also helping? How is it also? It's not just about you. It's not. And if you look for that space in your hurt that you like, it's not about me, I can never go back and be that child. I can heal that child through healing another child. As an example, I can heal myself by being an amazing parent and not doing those things, going back and having some conversations, doing something that leaves a mark. That is essentially a gift to me, to God. And that's how you end up healing as well. I'm just saying, if we looked at things a little bit different, I think we would do better, especially for our men. I do. You can't keep running from everything, and you can't keep hiding under excuses. The accountability needs to be there. And women, the accountability from a mother, a aunt, a grandmother, a sister, a cousin within your family needs to be better. Because when these men is talking about, well, all I heard was boys don't cry and this and that. You didn't hear that from me. I don't date boys. I date a man. I came in on the back end of that. That was how you was raised. And perhaps when I raise my voice, it reminds you of being yelled at all the time and those type of things. But if you would tell me that, I would know how to move forward. Y'all know we got loud, squeaky voices. Give us a little pass. Next part.
And I left out of his office feeling defeated, right? Devastated, right? I was pissed. Walked out of it. I said, okay, no worries. I'll figure it out. As a matter of fact, I'm not doing anything. 3 weeks later, I started to feel better. His words touched me spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I started feeling lighter, right? Things started to make sense to me. He went on to say, go back to school. Let your journey be a part of your healing. And somehow I think this is your purpose. This is what the last therapist told me. And that's what I did. That gentleman was a middle-aged white guy. So now I spend my days supporting black males, those who care about them and love them, and those who are raising them with a unique approach to black mental health struggles. You see, the struggle is because black men are not being taken care of in a way that really touch, moves, and inspires them, right?
I think that's true. And I think that it's very sad. And I think that I have to ask this next question, which makes it even more sad. I think that some of those things that are made available to men, if they're electronic or courses or books or anything like that, single mothers, you should pick them up too. Because if that male isn't there, I wish he would do an audio book or something, because if the male isn't there and the rate of professionals in this space isn't increasing enough mentors and single homes is widespread and so normal, how do we ever catch up? We keep putting ourselves in positions to never fucking catch up. This shit is wild to me. Oh God. Yeah, I think that it needs to be made available to women too, for young boys to be able to hear, to be able to listen to whatever he's making available. I think that he should make it into a series, make it audio, do more videos. This is on TED Talk, but I think he should do more videos, and he should speak from a place of a therapist on platforms who is speaking to that little boy that needs you right now today. If there are any males that can listen and go listen to his other things and then incorporate that in how you're raising your sons, incorporate that in how you talk to your nephews or being a part of a village, I think that will be really healthy. Something else he said at the beginning is, I walked away and I'm just not going to do it. I'm not doing nothing. True testament to when you get that aha moment or that person speaks into you, it don't always feel good or sound good. It don't sound like, oh my God, yes, somebody finally got it right. Even though I'm pretty sure everybody listening is thinking, that was some of the best advice you could have got. If that's not what you're looking for and not open to what the answer could be, which is why therapy actually fails a lot of people, because you're thinking you're going to go in and they're going to tell you the answer. It doesn't always happen this way. This person, he was directed to go get the answer. So there was an answer provided, but it was an action item on his side. When you go to therapy, they give you action items. They don't just tell you, yes, everything you experienced, it was so horrible and you're the victim. They don't validate. The goal is to get you to a place that you think different, that you see how you can turn it and all of that. And it's up to you to take it and run with it. Now, this man did. Now look at how it worked out. That's amazing, baby. I love a good black man.
Right? Not necessarily a mental illness, but things are definitely out of order, right? So that's what we need. We need the existing practitioners to become culturally competent on what this means for the people they serve. We need young college students who are black, preferably male, to be encouraged to go into mental health, right? We need the existing black practitioners to be amplified and elevated, right? And we need all of us to know that there is a unique experience for black males that starts when we are born, mostly caused by racism, right? Exacerbated by unemployment, increased with PTSD symptoms due to violence, right? And it starts when we're in elementary school with suspensions and special education referrals. So I implore all of us to sustain the existing mental health industry. We have to take into consideration the uniqueness of the black male mental health struggle.
There you have it. There's a solution. Those are things that we can do. So we're all charged with having a responsibility. Guess what the responsibility could also be? The first one is, if you have a son, even a grown son, if you have any male in your family that you think needs therapy, it's a good idea to talk to him. Maybe go find some too and say, hey, I've researched and this is a good person, or hey, listen to this podcast. That might be a good one, because I'm going to link it below. Maybe start there. Yes, women, because, they tell us, don't solve it for me. Okay, I'm not going to solve it to you. Here, honey, listen to this. Play it in their sleep, put it over their ears. Yeah, I'm talking about your child, your son, your brother, your husband. But yeah, maybe that would be a good first step, going and listening to this entire thing and hearing, because sometimes just alone for me, child, if I listen to the laundry list of things people have been through in a short amount of time, I'd be like, mine seemed short because it was, 2 a year, or this year and that year, or this year and the next year, but Jesus, thank you, Jesus. You did give me a little bitty break. I slept that one night. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Please share and subscribe on the way out. And yes, there are some that I do by myself because I'm not asking for an opinion and I'm trying to give out resources. So I want us to be able to listen to people that are adequately speaking and be able to derive something from it with no arguing. So subscribe, share, and like. Please make sure you share on the way out, and as well, go back and listen to the whole recording if you need to hear it, and it gives a different perspective for us women that don't understand. I mean, I do, but I say us because we a unit. I'm a force by myself. I'm a movement by myself, a force and unit. You know what I'm saying. Good night. Poof.